Hello everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel. Today's video features the latest Spellbinders kits, including their card kit of the month, which is called Koala Smiles, their Glimmer Kit of the month, and their small die of the month. Let's just flip through these new supplies and then we'll go right into making some cards. First up, they sent me the May card kit of the month. They have a list of supplies on this card here, as well as instructions on how to put together the little koala on the branch. There are A2 cards and envelopes, a double-sided tape roll. There's also all of the dies that you need to create the koala, as well as sentiment dies. There is an entire pack of die-cut shapes. These die-cut cardstock shapes, some are foiled. There's a 4x6 stamp set that has some very beautiful detailed sentiments as well as images. There's a 6x6 pattern paper pad. You get lots of very versatile patterns as well as some cute little koala patterns. There's a sticker sheet with gold puffy sentiment stickers, really beautiful, as well as some hearts in there. And there is a double-sided chipboard sheet, so you get 2 sheets of chipboard. There's sentiments and images and some circled chipboard with gold foiled letters that spell out things like happy birthday. There are some sequins in a pack, a beautiful pearly pink, and all of these beautiful colors of smooth Spellbinders cardstock, as well as a metallic gold foil cardstock, which is double-sided. The Glimmer Kit Club of the month has these butterfly images that can be stitched or glimmered, and glimmer sentiments, as well as a roll of beautiful glimmer foil. The small die of the month has an A2 size die that cuts out all of these stitching holes that you can use as is or stitch with the hello sentiment. Now that you've seen the new kits that I'm working with today, let's make a few cards. First up, I'm going to start with the card kit of the month, and I'm going to choose a couple of pattern papers. I'm going to create the koala. So I've cut out the koala with the gray cardstock included in the card kit, and I've cut out the inner parts of the ears with some of the pink also in the card kit. I'm only using colors that came in the kit. So there's a little die to cut out a stripe on the belly, cut that out of the white cardstock, cut the nose out of black, and I'm just using liquid adhesive to put these little pieces together. And then I have the branch cut out of the brown. There's a little edge to the stem there, cut that out of white. And then there's the little claws. I found that the claws work best if you adhere them to the back of your die cut so that just the little claw part is sticking out. With these leaves, I put the little stem of the leaf just glued right onto the branch. You could do it behind or in front. Either way kind of looks cute. I did both as well. And a couple of places you can have 2 overlapping each other. Now for the eyes of the koala, it's cut out. So I did place it on some black cardstock and then just trimmed around so that you don't see through the koala's head. You actually see some little black eyes. I have the separate paw hooked onto the branch and I adhered all that down, and now I'm just placing the body so that it looks like the arms are wrapped around the branch. Super, super simple once you realize kind of what they were going for there. Then I am going to pop up the koala's head on a piece of white foam square. And last but not least, I'm going to also pop up that secondary ear there so that the head and both ears are all on the same plane, but you can see that one ear is tucked behind. For the sentiments, I'm going to use iCraft Easy-Cut Adhesive, a thin adhesive sheet. I'm going to peel back one protective layer and lay my gold foil cardstock right on top of that sticky open adhesive. Then I'm going to lay the protective sheet down and I'm going to cut out the excess. So I'm going to cut that with the protective sheet on so that I don't gum up my scissors. And now I have gold stickers that I can create by cutting out those sentiments, which are so tiny and so delicate, right on top of that gold, and then the sticker will be behind it. So it's a really cute sentiment. It says, let's hang soon. So I'm going to put that right underneath our koala, and then I'm going to pop up one of the die cuts from the kit that says, hey there, and it also has that gold, so it ties those two sentiments together. It was very easy to create this, but it was so much fun. And don't forget that the kit comes with card bases, so you can just adhere that panel right down to your card base, and then you also have an envelope that will fit as well. Next up, Spellbinders sent me the small die of the month, and I am going to cut out that large shape out of white cardstock. And you can see there are going to be, if you don't use like a metal shim, there are going to be some holes that need to be punched out. It didn't take me that long. I just used my Spellbinders tool and one to pop out some of those holes so that I don't have to worry about them while I'm stitching. You can absolutely just pop them out with the needle as you go along, but I just wanted them all done. Now I'm going to take a few colors of embroidery floss. The thing that's so great about this die is that there's not so much stitching that it's going to take you hours and hours and hours. Each shape kind of has a central hole and then holes around the outside. So you're really doing large stitches to fill in the shape. You go from the central hole to all the exterior holes, and then you've filled in that space. So I'm going to do all the leaves with a green thread. And again, I know I sped this up, but it really did not take me very long. This is not like cross stitching. It's different because of how long the stitches are. So I used different colors for each of the flowers or shape of flowers so that I could get a few really bright, vibrant colors on this die cut here. You can see on the side there are some other dies. There's a flower, a leaf, and a smaller flower, as well as the letters for the hello, and we'll use those later. But for now, I'm just gonna finish up stitching all those flowers in. I'm gonna flip it over, trim the little excess strings, tape down what I can, and then I'm putting liquid adhesive behind those flowers and leaves so that it's on the parts that are puffy from all those strings. And I'm going to layer it on top of another die cut. I didn't worry about poking out the holes on that one because I'm just using this to keep all those stitches together. And I'll also be able to pop this up if I wanted to, because I'm not dealing with the threads, I'm dealing with the back of that cardstock die cut that I cut out. This maybe seems like it takes a little too long, but I really liked the look of these letters popped up. So I did cut them out of the gold mirror cardstock from Spellbinders. It was in the card kit. And then I just cut foam squares in half to place behind those letters because I really loved them just popping off that background there. And then I'm going to use some of the blue cardstock and the white cardstock from the kit to layer on top of each other so that there is a white border around the card. There's also that white border around the die cut. Again, I can use foam squares behind this because I dealt with all those strings by putting an extra die cut behind my stitched panel. Last but not least, I'm going to add some flower centers, just a dot of liquid glue in the larger flowers so that I can add those sequins right on top, and then a dot of liquid glue on the small yellow flowers so that I can add some of the Spellbinders gold embellishments. These were not in the kit, these were from my stash, but I absolutely loved having the gold in another place on the sentiment and then on these little flowers. This did not take me that long, and I love the outcome. This is one of my favorite cards I've made in a long time. Next up is the Glimmer Kit of the month that they sent me. I'm going to do all my glimmering at first. So once my platform is ready, I'm going to create these, which are parts of butterfly wings that were glimmered. And I also glimmered some sentiments. There are matching dies that you can cut out these little wings by lining up the holes with the little gold dots. And I'm also going to cut out that large full-size butterfly out of the blue cardstock from the card kit. And again, just punch out those little bits that don't come right out. To create the background, I'm going to use the Sketch Floral embossing folder. Again, that's not part of the kit. This was just from my stash. I thought it would look nice with this butterfly. I'm going to use up the rest of that blue piece of cardstock by matting that embossed panel on top of it. And then I am going to pop up just the center of this butterfly so that I can lift the wings a little bit off the back of the card and make it look even more dimensional than it would just with foam squares all over it. So peel off those little protective layers on those little foam squares, place it on my card, and then lift up those wings. So I'm not going to stitch on this one at all. I am going to use the foiled lines that look sort of like stitched lines on on this card. I also foiled a sentiment. I'm going to cut that down to a sentiment strip and pop that up on some foam tape. And I'd also cut out a butterfly body out of that mirror cardstock with the iCraft behind it so that I could just stick it down on the center. I also used a die cut from the card kit that has some gold foiling on it to pull this together. So there's a sentiment at the top and then one at the bottom as well. I did want to show you how to put together the other butterfly from the Glimmer Kit, which shows either a butterfly in flight or kind of landed where you're looking at the side of it and the wings are closed. So I cut it out of white cardstock. It's 2 pieces of the wing, and I'm going to use the waffle flower shader brushes to ink blend some Salvaged Patina Distress Oxide ink right on top so that I can get kind of a soft, light look to this butterfly wing, which I think is pretty and just is a little bit different than cutting it out of a color of cardstock or a pattern paper. For this butterfly, I cut out the interior wings instead of cutting out the glimmer pieces. I cut out the stitch pieces. So again, these stitches are long. It does not take long to do. There's a central piece at the bottom, a central hole, and you go through that, and then you do long stitches from the top down to that central hole. So I recommend only using 3 threads for this because if it's too thick, you're going to tear that bottom hole, which I did first. So 3 strings so that you have plenty of room in that bottom hole to keep coming back around to. It looks so pretty once it's done. It's so easy to do. Like, look at how long those stitches are. They're super long. They're not teeny tiny little delicate stitches. They're long stitches that really don't take very much time at all. Okay, I'm going to use the rest of this gray cardstock that I cut the koala out of as my base. Just make sure you go around all those open spaces so that your pattern paper stays stuck down to it. And I have a piece of pattern paper from the card kit cut down to 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to layer some of the chipboard elements on this card. I do like to add a little bit of tape runner to my chipboard elements. I know that in the dry heat that I have here, sometimes my chipboard elements get a little dry and so the adhesive doesn't work as well. So I just like to add a little bit just to be sure. I'm going to pop up those butterfly wings. You can see how they kind of go together in that place in the center where the little holes just come together so it looks like it's one piece. And then you can put those stitched inner pieces right on top with some liquid adhesive and again a butterfly body and some antenna too. Then I have a couple of chipboard hearts, again just a little dot of liquid glue just to make sure, especially if you're sending it in the mail, that the adhesive doesn't dry and then the chipboard just falls right off. And then I have the smile sentiment from that puffy gold sticker. Such a fun card to create, and I love these colors too. So all those cards were pretty complex as far as doing lots of stitching or glimmering and all that kind of stuff. But I did want to share that it's pretty easy to create some quick cards with the card kit of the month. So for this first card, I'm going to use the stamp set and I'm going to heat emboss that large image. So I have a piece of pattern paper cut down to 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm treating it with anti-static powder tool so that I can stamp and heat emboss that large image with gold embossing powder, and then layer that pattern paper on top of an A2 piece of pattern paper. I'm going to use a thanks sticker sentiment, a chipboard sentiment, and another sticker, and I'm going to call that a day. Really quick and easy. You want even quicker and easier? I'm going to adhere a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of white cardstock down to an A2 piece of the pattern paper, and then I'm going to use foam squares to pop up a whole bunch of die cuts, and I'm just going to create a little cluster of the kind of eucalyptus and other pieces that really come together quite beautifully and quickly, just like making a little floral arrangement. And then you have that chipboard sticker for the sentiment. It just is such a quick and easy card, but there's tons of those die cuts included. I'm also going to make a card with some pattern paper on some of the gray cardstock. Everything in the kit coordinates. The colors look really beautiful together. You can see that the pattern paper kind of has that darker peach. I've also picked out some die cuts that match perfectly. So I have a tag that's also got a little bit of gold on it. Then there's this butterfly. Again, I'm going to do the trick of just putting adhesive in the center of the butterfly so that you can kind of pull the wings up and make make it look like it's flying off the card. And then I'm going to use those round chipboard stickers to say hello at the bottom and a little gold heart as well. So you don't have to do a lot of work to pull together some really pretty cards with this card kit and all that's included inside it. If you like checking out new monthly card kits or seeing new tips, tricks, and techniques for card making, be sure to like this video, hit subscribe and the bell so you can be notified every single time I have a new video available. As always, I want to thank you so much for spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. Kit, hi today. That was really fast. There's got to be something that's wrong. I just like cruised through that one. All right, well, I don't know. We'll see.